It may be hard to fathom for some, but this June marks the 40th anniversary of Joe Dante's Gremlins. Released in 1984, and the third highest grossing film of that year, the iconic horror meets Christmas family film saw a wholesome small town overrun by deadly, mischievous, reptilian-like monsters on Christmas Eve. The success of the film quickly spawned a cult following across the globe, and with it a whole line of collectible toys and memorabilia. And some pretty hardcore collectors. One of them is aspiring collector of Gremlins memorabilia and social media content creator Sophie Thornton. So let's hear what she's got to say as we celebrate the anniversary. Originally pitched as a R-rated horror, it was Steven Spielberg who stepped in and pushed for the project to be more family friendly, resulting in the finished project we enjoy and love today. Its unique narrative pushes the genre conventions between cartoony, slapstick humour, Frank Capra-esque comedy and horror. So much so that it was one of the first films partly responsible for the creation of the PG-13 rating. Of course, the real star of the franchise is the adorable protagonist Gizmo the Mogwai, voiced by Howie Mandel. Gizmo's undeniable cuteness has continued to shape pop culture, influences the like of the Furbies and the Mandalorian's Grogu, and he's even starred in a Mountain Dew advert. With fans eager to get their hands on the very own Mogwai companion, Warner Brothers wasted no time in releasing a whole host of collectibles, from action figures, soft toys, bobbleheads, animatronics, to cereal, lunchboxes, sleeping bags and clothing. Sophie from Kingston in Surrey received her very first Gizmo at the age of 7 from Clinton Cards in 1998, and as someone new to collecting, has begun to grow a collection over the last few years. She says she's always been fascinated with film from a young age, and Gremlins was one of her most early memories. I think it's the nostalgia that comes from those Spielberg-esque adventure films, combined with horror elements, which make it a unique cult classic. From a collecting perspective, there's so much cool pieces from 1982 onwards, particularly in the UK, and you don't see masses of it around. So I think that part of the attraction of Gremlins also is that it's a bit different compared to a lot of generic film merchandise. When you do find a good quality vintage piece, it feels like a real find. So she says she's not been collecting very long, and it's only when she moved into her current home that was able to dedicate a proper collecting room. I've always picked up film memorabilia, mostly Universal Monsters, Disney, and generic film props. But my real passion for growing my Gremlins collection came from the release of the collection of Trick or Treat Studios. On a trip to America back in 2017, I came across the replica Gizmo and Stripe puppet prop in a Halloween store, and having got them home and seen them quite lonely on the shelf, I knew I needed more. Since then, Christmases, birthdays and occasional treats have allowed me to gather the majority of the NECA pieces. Some excellent spots at Comic-Con are also allowed me to gather some rarer toys from the early 80s. I tend to find the best pieces have been found purely by accident, and ones I haven't had to pay a resale premium for. She goes on to say, I have been picking up pieces gradually from a combination of eBay, cardboard sales, Vinted, comic conventions. American thrift stores are great too. For me, it's less about purchasing the pieces in mint condition or for the purpose of resale. Of course, I always want a good quality collectible, but for me it's far more enjoyable to have the nostalgic value and the joy I get from each toy. I absolutely love the branding of the 80s pieces, but you may struggle to find anything that's been perfectly preserved pre-90s. I also make a point to advise sellers purposefully price gouge as often. With a bit of online research, you'll find it elsewhere eventually. So she goes on to talk about her favourite pieces. I think the toys that started it all for me were the Trick or Treat Studios prop puppets. These are replicas of the real puppets used in the films, and I'd say they're pretty spot on. I really love the craftsmanship of them and the authentic feel of them. I think it's the closest I'll ever get to owning a real life Mogwai. One of my favourite, more unique pieces is my Spanish Gizmo plush toy, or Quiron as he's affectionately known in Spain. These can often be confused by bootleg toys, as they usually depict Gizmo in novelty costumes. They are indeed official Warner Brothers, and are always a real good fun find. I also have the complete collection of the Gremlins Topps Trading Cards from 1984 and Gremlins 2, a new batch from 1990, in near mint condition. Essentially, they just stay in the plastic casing, and I love the aesthetic of the cards, and I was pleased to find the complete set of both. So what would you like to find for a collection? I've been pining after the Trick or Treat Studios evil puppet prop for quite some time, and this year I will absolutely be adding at least one to my collection. I see them fairly regularly and they bring me so much joy. Trick or Treat have also been teasing a second batch of Mogwai puppets from Gremlins 2 for the last 2 years. And we're all hoping this year will finally be the release. Those will be an absolute must for me. I've also had my eye on the number of Gremlin figures from Japan, which are pricey, but come in beautiful packaging. So the final part is she's answering the question, what has been your highlight so far with your social media page collection? I visited prop store auctions a few years ago. As a content creator, I was lucky enough to don the white gloves and hold several genuine props from Gremlins 2. It was a very surreal and also fascinating to see many incredible collections. Also getting to meet Zach Galligan, who played Billy Peltzer, was a real highlight for me at a recent Comic Con.